with statistics showing that over 85% of currency in circulation are outside the vaults of our commercial banks.
On the 26th of October 2022, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria announced that they will be redesigning the 200, 500 and 1000 Naira notes, stating that 85% of the money in Nigeria are outside the vault of the CBN and that this move will help control money in circulation. During the course of making this announcement, they fixed the 31st of January 2023 as the deadline for residents of the country to change their old currency to the new currency. For the CBN to successfully change the currency of Nigeria, they need the backing of the president. In fact, a few weeks later after the CBN governor had made public the news of the currency redesign, the president, just as a way to show his full support, unveiled the new currency that would be in circulation, and this was done in the month of November. I actually want you guys to follow this timeline properly. So in the month of October, the currency redesign was announced. In the month of November, the president unveiled the new currency. Now we're in the month of December. Guess what, guys? The CBN just recently announced that individuals and corporate entities can do more than 100k to 500,000 Naira withdrawal respectively in a week. If we dig further into this new policy announcement, we will also realize that as an individual, you can't withdraw more than 20,000 Naira from an ATM machine or a POS. If you convert 20,000 Naira to the US dollars, that's equivalent to telling a Nigerian that he can't withdraw more than 27 US dollars every day from an ATM machine or a POS terminal. So in this video, guys, we're going to be doing a breakdown of this recent redesign stroke withdrawal limit move by the CBN. I'm going to take a look at the motive behind this move, some countries that have implemented these strategies that the CBN is currently implementing, and the outcome they got. We will also be taking a look at the benefit this move could cause to the Nigerian economy, and also what could happen if this move by the CBN goes wrong. And finally, I'll be sharing my thoughts on what I think about this recent move by the CBN. By the way, guys, do have to smash the like button so this video can be recommended to more people. And also do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell if you're anyone interested in business and personal finance, so you get notified anytime I push out a new content. And without much talk, let's dive right into today's video. Let's go. Starting out with the purpose of the currency redesign stroke withdrawal limit policy. You see, back in October, when the CBN governor announced that they'll be redesigning the Nigerian currency, the two major reasons they gave was that they wanted to control money in circulation and as well boost a cashless economy. Now, when they also announced the withdrawal limit just recently, some of the major reasons they added was also control money in circulation and boost a cashless economy. This really got me thinking, why is the CBN governor bent on controlling money in circulation? Well, digging deeper, you will come to realize that when there's so much money in circulation in an economy, people tend to spend more money and demand increases at a faster rate than supply can match. And when demand for goods and services is higher than supply, the prices of goods and services increases, thereby causing inflation. Currently, inflation rate in Nigeria as of October was pegged at 21.09%, and this is the highest it has been since 2005, which is like 17 years ago. So it is believed that most of the actions the CBN is taking currently is aimed towards curbing inflation in Nigeria, while also still generating more money for the government by taxing citizens anytime they make more than 100 to 500,000 withdrawal every week, and then basically using boosting cashless economy and controlling money in circulation as a cover-up for the major reasons they have at the back of their mind. Truth be told, wanting to reduce inflation while also still generating more money for the government is not a bad idea at all. Even moving from a fiscal cash economy to a cashless economy is actually a wonderful thought process by the CBN. But we need to actually ask important questions like, do we have what it takes? Have the right infrastructure been put in place by the CBN? There are actually multiple countries that have tried switching from a fiscal cash economy to a cashless economy. Some were actually successful, while some were not. But I want to take a look at two special countries, Sweden and India, to see the results they got when they are trying to switch their country from a fiscal cash society to a cashless society, to see what you can learn from them as a country called Nigeria. Starting off with Sweden, you see, Sweden is actually ranked #1 globally when it comes to running a cashless society. But they did not just arrive to this place just like that. They actually took early steps. And for the past 20 years, the use of paper money has actually been on a decline in Sweden. In fact, according to sources of my research, which is an article by TechPoint Africa, link in the description, currently less than 1% of Sweden's transactions are currently done using cash. In fact, many banks no longer accept cash deposits anymore in Sweden. This then means that Riksbank, which is equivalent to the Central Bank of Sweden, can now sufficiently account for the amount of money in circulation in the country. Sweden's lead in a cashless society globally can actually be attributed to many reasons, which includes very good internet infrastructure, which is actually the opposite here in Nigeria. In fact, any day you don't complain about poor internet connection in Nigeria, that day is a very good day to actually thank the Lord. You can also attribute the cashless society lead of Sweden to early digitization of banks, which is something that is just taking off in Nigeria currently. We also have free real-time mobile transaction in Sweden, which is also another case of opposite is the case in Nigeria, as you are taxed left and right anytime you perform mobile transactions in Nigeria. And even sometimes the mobile transaction that you perform in Nigeria can be left hanging and will not go through. There are many other things you can actually attribute Sweden's lead in a cashless society to, but you'll be doing injustice if you don't mention the actions taken by the Swedish government decades past. Record shows that Sweden has been at the forefront of banking innovation. The country's very first own ATM machine was launched in July 1967, just a week after the world's very first own ATM machine was opened in London. Just like Nigeria is currently facing money circulation issues, 4 decades after Sweden had introduced their very first own ATM machines, which is around the 90s actually, they had 55% of their money in circulation, which was quite high, as banks had to start charging money for check withdrawals, which actually helped them curtail this high money circulation issue. However, in 2007, Sweden faced its highest ever money in circulation problem. The Swedish Central Bank had to start making plans for them to redesign their currency, and it did not take until between 2015 to 2017 for them to successfully change their currency from the old one to the new one, while in Nigeria it is taking us less than 6 months. Another propeller for the cashless policy in Sweden is the fact that the Swedish government understands that how much a citizen trusts their government plays a role in whether the citizen is going to accept a cashless policy or not. And the Swedish government has been able to build trust between themselves and the citizens by actually stabilizing the krona, which is equivalent to the Swedish own currency. I want you to actually answer this question. Is the Nigerian currency stable? Record shows that the Nigerian currency has been on a free fall, losing 20.42% in just 7 months. This is a personal question to you watching this video. Do you trust the Nigerian government? Please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you guys. I really do think that the CBN is taking a look at the likes of Sweden and seeing the success they have had in trying to go cashless. But I really do think that the CBN needs to look further to see the steps that Sweden have taken in the past to get to where they are today. Now, let's take a look at another country called India that is quite similar like Nigeria and also tried going cashless, and see the result they got from this cashless economy move that they made.
Take the grip of corruption and black money. We have decided that the 500 rupee and 1000 rupee currency notes presently in use will no longer be legal tender from midnight to night.
Just like Nigeria, India had a similar objective back in 2016 when it abruptly announced the demonetization project that mandated the withdrawal of the country's highest denomination note, that is the 1000 rupees and the 500 rupees from the market. The Indian government backing their action by saying that the plan would strike a significant blow to corruption and counterfeiting and would as well kickstart the country's transition into, in quote, a digital and cashless world. Almost the same statement used by the CBN governor when they announced the redesign and withdrawal limit plan that they had. Well, this did not work out, as the Indian government had expected money holders to destroy their money rather than declare them. In fact, in 2018, the Reserve Bank of India went on to confirm that 99.3% of the demonetized note had been returned back to the bank, literally meaning that almost nothing was destroyed, and this might actually be the case in Nigeria if care is not taken. According to Total FinTech's database, there are about 1 billion account owners in India, and around 540 million of them do not actually make digital payment. Just for this same purpose of boosting digital economy, the Indian government had announced that cash withdrawals from ATMs would be restricted to around a maximum of 2000 rupees which is equivalent to $30 daily. The Indian economy going on to feel the impact of the demonetization and withdrawal limit in a negative way. There were long queues in the banks, 82 people lost their lives, and 8 million people went on to be unpaid. In fact, 2 years later, it was obvious that the demonetization by the government was not a resounding success. The Indian economy had taken a huge beating, they incurred huge financial losses, and the poor people were even made poorer. The only benefit was that the government made more tax gains, and currently the Indian economy is actually getting more digital. Now, let's come back home to Nigeria. What are the benefits Nigeria could reap if these policies go well? One is that the government will be able to generate more money for themselves through taxations. Secondly, digital payments will very likely grow. And finally, more unicorns, or will I say billion-dollar companies, are going to be born in Nigeria, as this was the case in India with a company called Paytime. These are the only good things, or will I say upsides, to these new policies passed by the CBN. Now the big question is, what could go wrong if these new policies by the CBN do not work out well? The major downside is that we could have a black market for the Naira, just as we have for the US dollars. Poverty rate in Nigeria could very likely increase as well, as Nigerians are currently overly taxed when it comes to performing offline transactions and as well as digital transactions, which is where the CBN is actually pushing us towards. The Nigerian economy could incur more debt as we are broke as a country, and we need more money to actually print out these newly redesigned currencies by the CBN. If the CBN are really interested in pushing Nigeria into a digital economy, I really do think that the CBN would actually scrap any task or reduce all the tasks implemented on digital transaction. CBN governor, if you're watching this video, please consider that. That will be very, very helpful in pushing Nigeria into the digital economy. If you enjoyed this video, I have another video where I break down how could that bank lost over 6 billion naira, and I believe you'll find that particular video interesting. Do not forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. I make videos around business and personal finance. And with that being said, guys, see you on the next one. Deal.